that we'll clarify all the doubts.
Speak up.
Yeah.
In between,
Speak up,
if
ma'am.
that, like yesterday happened,
Nilufar,
it
ma'am?
will not appear.
Hello.
One second, ma'am. 1 second.
You're not connecting there. No. Why?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't minimize any of the screen, ma'am. And if it was happened like yesterday, the images were not displaying right between.
Okay.
If that was happened, what you do, you open that OBS as well as Google Chrome Meet window.
Okay.
So it will synchronize.
Okay.
There's a problem between
Speak
the
up.
Okay, ma'am. The thing is,
the
Hello?
application background, don't
Hello?
minimize it.
okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yes.
Hello?
Both like YouTube and your OBS.
Not able
Okay.
to speak.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
You're audible.
Good morning, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah, good morning. You are able to
Yes,
hear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, coming back to the thing, I'm in the college, as you rightly said. And what about the PPT?
Yes, sir. It's with me, sir.
You are going to put it.
Yes, sir.
Can I have that rehearsal on the same? I mean, in my laptop. Can I see?
Already you are in the
Yeah.
I'll
students
share.
already out there.
Student also. Then shall I mute?
Yeah, I can wait.
Nilufar,
Only first
Yes, sir.
slide.
are you sharing the first slide?
Yes, sir.
First slide.
Let me see on the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Everything clear. So I'll come back, sir.
Yes, you don't have.
Just pressing.
Yeah. Okay. Can you put the corrected version? You remember that about 2 slides we made a small correction about the vaccine. Covishield and Covaxin. This will be there on this.
You can pin it.
Okay. No. These things will be there.
No. If you want the second product.
For me to read, this will be the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. Covishield and Covaxin. Okay, good. And they also added one more slide. Yeah.
This one, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Good. And anything we've added? What did the photograph and other people who supported me, the staff people?
So photographs are not there. We have only mentioned the name, sir.
That's okay, no problem. And total number of slides will be around 26 or 25.
It is excluding the introductory and the end slide. It is 22.
Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to start around exact 11.
Yes, sir.
Now it is 10:42. Maybe another 10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
10:56.
10:50 is it?
56.
I see. Oh, mine is running late. Yeah, correct. Maybe 4 minutes more.
Yes, sir. It's 10:56.
Yeah. Am I visible and audible?
You are only audible, sir.
What about my photograph? It will not come, is it?
Camera is not coming, sir.
Now?
No,
Now it has come?
no, sir. I don't think so.
Now?
1 second, sir. I'll check, sir.
Please check. It's somewhere I saw my photo here.
Yes, sir. It's coming.
It's come, okay. So all these people have already started. Ask is must, you know.
You are visible.
Yeah. It's okay, or should I wear the tie? Not required. Nilüfer, I told you about in the introduction, add some professional background. Have you done it? Nilüfer?
Sir, yes. Yesterday I have sent you the final PPT, sir.
I know about it, but apart from it in the WhatsApp, you remember I had just put one more sentence regarding my professional background. Have you added or you can save over the...
Sir, that I have added in the welcome address, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Is everything okay?
Do you have with us Aisha ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good morning.
It's me, Aisha, sir.
Should I open?
Morning, sir.
Okay, morning.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
It's 1 minute, sir. Exactly by 11
we'll
o'clock
we'll
will you start, sir?
Absolutely. Please start. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
So,
So, please ask her.
which background application?
Do we expect our principal to be here or do you think she will join there?
Tell me. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Mhm. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay. परास इसको ले जाओ.
Just talk like that, sir. Without holding that. Without holding the square.
Like this.
Yes.
Sir, can we wait for another 2 minutes? Like more people are joining, sir.
I'm inviting the principal. She will also join in about a minute time. Then we'll start.
Okay.
So, don't hold this over and start.
Okay, like that. Okay. Water. From college. Participant. How many are there roughly?
Anand sir has joined. Welcome,
Yes,
Anand.
ma'am. I have joined, ma'am. I have joined, ma'am.
How are you, sir?
I am fine, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
Nice to see you.
Oh, same here, ma'am.
Ma'am, can we start? Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. We'll start.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Hello and good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Nilufar Mirza, Vice Principal and Lecturer, Department of Political Science, BET Sadathunisa Degree College, welcome you all in today's session, hosted by our college on the topic Enhance Human Potential During Pandemic. Before we start with the session, I would like to give a brief introduction of our college. BET Sadatunisa Degree College, located at Bismillah Nagar, Bengaluru, is managed by Trust and is one of the oldest college in Bangalore and has carved a niche for itself for the cause of empowering women through education. The college is affiliated to Bangalore City University and offers courses like BA, BCA, BCom, and BBA. It also offers 1 year certificate course in Kannada language and other skill development courses after college hours. Sports and other amenities of the college provide students a total package what they are looking for a great experience. Now I welcome our Honorary Secretary Mohammad Saifullah Sir, who is working towards connecting young minds to strive towards success and achievement. And I also welcome our principal, Professor Sumaya Fatima, who is our guiding light and has always encouraged us. I welcome you both in today's webinar. As far as the session is concerned, it will help you to understand common reactions in yourself and others during the COVID 19 pandemic, what you can do to look after yourself, and how to enhance your potential during these abnormal times. It's normal for people to experience a wide range of thoughts, feelings, and reactions in this pandemic. Today, I hope that this session will help you in looking after your well being in the midst of this global crisis. On this note, I would like to introduce today's speaker, M.K. Damodar Rao Sir, who is a counselor and coach, certified and experienced. Sir is a science graduate from National College, Bangalore University, and has done his postgraduate diploma in marketing and business administration. He is a student, individual family counseling, and a soft skill trainer in communication, and also helps students to cope up with behavioral, physical, and mental health challenges. Sir is a reputed, prominent, and well known counselor who believes that the most valuable aspect of being a counselor is having the opportunity to just be there for people and to listen to them. Sometimes that sounds so simple but can be so powerful for other person to feel valued. Sir has also served pharma industry for 3 decades in various departments like production, planning, product marketing, and customer product marketing and customer support. He has done certification in as a master trainer, certification in cognitive behavior therapy, skill training, certification in life skill training, diploma in personal counseling skills, and diploma in epilepsy care. He has the experience of various posts representing national and international regions in marketing and product departments. Now I request you, sir, to start the session, and I request all the participants to keep your microphone in mute mode. If you have any query, please write your question in the chat box. We will get back to you in the end of the session. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. It's a very excellent type of the subject that we have taken. At the same time, all are very eagerly waiting for the type of information that you want to know. Probably this is what is happening, both internal and as of the external of a human brain. So we just wanted to condense the whole thought process, how it's going to relate with our activity. So most important here is, apart from whatever the introduction you also had with Madam, so let me have some type of a brief about the background, what and why, what is that we can contribute, how this is going to affect individually. All these things will come one by one. Now, basically, of course, as far as the presentation is concerned, of course, we have made a lot of concise, and of course, we have done a lot of hard work in bringing this particular pack of information. Now, normally, before we start any type of discussion, communication, conversation. As she mentioned it in my introduction itself, most important here is what is that we can try to understand from this particular scenario, maybe in terms of our epidemic, or probably what we call as a virus around the globe, around us. So some of the questions will come to us. Maybe we can also try to know each other, understand each other. So there are different types of concept and efforts going on all over the world today. How this pandemic has really given us shock for every human being. In the morning also, I was trying to go through some of the paper information. The virus has not been made inside one lab. Let me understand that. It's been conceived by the several teams worked in all of you must be knowing, Wuhan Institute of Virology. So this pandemic is very much virus. I don't know how they are able to discover this, and we are now probably in the midst of the virus. Maybe we also had the same challenging type of a thing about a year back. We have completed almost 1 year now. So I think we should have really learned quite a lot how to go with this, and probably how to live with that. That's very important. I think we have a lot of enhanced premium on our lifetime, and let's do our type of activity which has been assigned to us. There are a lot of volunteer associations which were helping to us during the pandemic. There are a lot of two things I would like to do here is our power of compassion towards the harmonious of coexistence. We need to be even more continuous about the impact of our whatever the alternative and activity that we do. So we should be ready for all this type of pandemic. I can say it's a war. Yeah, can you go for the presentation? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you go on.
Yes, ma'am, please.
You just disconnect me.
Can I have the first slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we're all here to enhance the human potential. That's a very important concept I could really bring it to this audience. What is the potential? Put the question to yourself, everyone. As a human, we have been encountered, we possess absolutely the potential in terms of energy, in terms of so many other aspects. We will come to know. But what is that we are working on the pandemic is very important. Next slide. Yeah, this is something, a quote we have taken it here. As I said earlier, our potential energy starts from what? The energy that we possess. There are two energy in the science, as we know. One is called the kinetic energy, another is potential energy. The energy that we fight, it has to be synchronized. And the guiding spirit for us, that were with a lot of faith, happiness, and that's the one which is going to give strength. It's going to give a lot of spirit of fighting, defense mechanism, we call it. So these are the takeaway probably during our lecture session from maybe another couple of slides, and of course we spend about nearing about 45 to 50 minutes. Next slide. Now the secret of health as a human being, we should be more worried about the mind and the body. And in the case of this pandemic, let's not worry about the past. Let's not worry about the future, but most anticipated troubles, and we should live in this present moment very, very wisely and earnestly. In this particular area, I would like to quote a small example here. So we had a doctor, a very renowned doctor who used to practice as a specialist in the general physician. He used to say his initial as WB, dash Gurney. And he used to say that W stand for wise brain, B for the brain. That's how he used to represent. I think we should always carry our wiseness, and most important here is earnestness. Next slide. Now, again, coming back to the subject, pandemics are a large scale outbreaks of infections, disease that can greatly increase the morbidity and mortality for a wide geographic area, which cause significant economic, social, and political disruption. I think this will have to really spend another minute or two. Now, why I'm talking about this is most important. Let us understand what is this morbidity. Everyone talks about that. Even today, when I was reading a newspaper, so we're all having more of a mortality, the death rate. But what is this morbidity? As a science advancing, probably in this particular infection, the comorbidity of an individual human being, it could be something connected with your respiratory system, digestive system, cardiovascular system. So I think very important here is the illness of the person, the health aspect about the person, of an individual is more or less is very, very, very important here. That is the one which is taking our morbidity. The seriousness of that illness has to be addressed by everyone. Most important here is a widespread of geographic. There is no one country which is not having this type of area which has been affected. The significance of this is it's pulling our economical, social, and political disruption. Imagine the whole country in about a year back or maybe today, when you take our strength, including the finance minister, she has already enrooted in the newspaper, what is our GDP? Coming to the social aspect, what we were earlier, we are able to meet people, greet people. There is a lot of social, I think, barrier. And most important is there is a lot of political disruption, naturally, because of so many legislative assemblies and councils, and etc. Even among the society, we cannot have that type of information which used to discuss and distribute among the people. So I think this is very important. There is a large scale. So I think we should cut it back, make that as a small, segment wise, as somebody said, make it middle, and of course, maybe in the year's time, we can make it zero. Next slide. So these are the food guidelines that we have during the coronavirus. Why we are specifically stressing this particular food habits is, believe it or not, today happens to be, I think you can also have a slide at the end, Food International Day, Food International Habit Day, we call it. So that means our habits, our type of a choosing, whatever we call it. And before that, I'd like to have a small presentation here. Please remember, all of you, that four letters is called STAR model, STAR. The word STAR starts with the symbol, that is, S stands for, anybody can guess? S for situation. T stands for, anybody can add? STAR, star. We'll have to talk about that. So every day we talk. And the next is alphabetical A. A for we have got to take an action or activity. At the end of it, R stand for result. So as a student or probably attached to the whatever the student community and even the faculty people, we should always get into this STAR model. So this is going to be one of our lessons that I probably brought into the discussion. Remember, everything starts with the situation. Talk about the situation. Probably you'll have to initiate. lot of activity, and only the result will come because of these things. So likewise, there are some restrictions regarding the food habits. So let me go to next slide. Next slide, please. Now, this is something very interesting for all the people to know about the nutritious diet plan during the pandemic. The main focus will be what is that we had to take in terms of food, consume food, and also it will help. Most important, we'll have to rebuild the muscles, immunity, and as I said earlier, energy levels. So let me repeat again. How do you rebuild? The muscles are becoming very weak because of the virus attack. Maybe our immunity is not there to really either to support ourselves or we have become totally different. Now, in a mathematics, we have got two signs. One is positive, another is negative. Remember, all of you. When you have a positive energy, what is the other one left over? That means virus becomes negative. If your energy is less, that means the mathematically it's minus we call it. So immediately the virus will come and become positive. So this is the science behind the energy level that you can and immunity. What is that we talk mostly about immunity? Day and night, we are all worried about the immunity. The immunity is nothing but the one that we process as a human, the potential for both energy as well as the defense mechanism we call it. Now coming to the food, probably there are a lot of discussions going on. Can we take, for example, whole grains like ragi, oats, and probably amarna? And the good source of protein, such as the calcium, probably in terms of course, whether it's the fish, egg, and paneer, soya beans, and nuts, probably these are the things which can work it out.
Hello, sir.
The tea, yeah, walnuts, almonds, olive oil. Probably there are a lot of mention in the PPT. These are the things which can go through that. The small amount of, I don't know, whether a student it's going to be very interesting. The dark chocolate. We were discussing yesterday with one of my lecture. What is the percentage of this chocolate in cocoa? And that gives you a lot of, especially for the student community to enjoy. And one thing here is medical aspect. It will get rid of your anxiety. That means wherever a small quantity of chocolate, if it is consumed, immediately you can always say where anxiety level comes down. The lastly, we have a very interesting, of course, that is the milk with the turmeric. Probably you can consume once a day. What is that? It will boost your immunity. Okay, next slide. Now, the post-COVID, probably, of course, here also I want to say there are, if all of you are having a pen and paper, take a piece of paper and write in the piece of paper, there are 6 steps for your healthy, positive aspect. Number 1, sunlight. Number 2, rest. Number 3, exercise. Number 4, diet and the food, which will going to come here. The most important, the self-confidence. All of us here with the pandemic, number 1. Most important, the lecture I'm going to start probably end in about an hour's time, must give you 100% self-confidence. The last important, the 6th factor, the steps in your friend. My dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, please kindly have as many confidence in you. So this is my another short method. And most important here is COVID, of course, it will come, it will go. But what are the during, before, and after? This is very important. In the COVID, That means when you're already, you have to bath in the morning if you're able to get up. And that's what I said. The first step is sunlight, 15 minutes to spend time. And probably the foods that you're going to select should be very appropriate, and which will boost the vitamin D. Probably when you are coming to the food habits like both veg or non-veg, the source of vitamin D, but include the fish sometimes, egg. If you are a vegetarian, probably you will have a lot of mushrooms and other greenery vegetables, and of course, source of vitamin D. So let me come to the study, and especially we are all students and community. We should understand the mind and the other things. Now, some people are already having a small discussion during the pandemic. We'd like to have more of herbs, but we are not having the scientific analysis how best it is. There are a lot of herbs available in the market, but we'll have to be very careful. And unless until it's been recommended by, of course, experiment and the scientific background, I think a lot of things are going on, and let's be very careful. And before we get into the type of consumption, we should be very careful. Very important here is the gastric juice example. There's going to be a pH level in the gut. Normally, the gut is going to be a very important aspect in the pandemic. If you're having a habit of eating, let us say, more of kadai, with of course lot of spicy, that might cause the gastric disturbance, and the pH level will go more into the acidic media, sometimes the oil neutralize. Next slide, please. Now, most important here is during the recovery, we also made a small study in our own hospital and other areas. The ragi probably is going to be a very excellent source of calcium and phosphorus. But there are a lot of other seeds and of course source of magnesium, calcium, and zinc. These are the things we'll have to supplement. The nutrition that we are required to see that we depends upon the type of the food that we select, and sometimes of course it could be even the almond or a spinach, and of course then we should be very careful about the selection of the protein and the zinc. For energy and the strength, they have put it here. Most important here is a smooth level of, especially the recipes sometimes, with the good reason, and maintain the excellent health. We should build the strength, and of course, we'll have to be energized. Post period is very important. So, probably we'll have to be very careful about the selection, and it should be served with, of course, a lot of maybe fruits or whatever you call it, which can give you a lot of nutritional balance food, and it should be pumped into your diet. And normally we are working out on including, of course, some of the vegetarian meals, which can be very useful in terms of protein and other things. Next, please. Next slide. Next slide.
Yes, so 1 second.
Yeah, as I was discussing, most important, even in the morning, we also had a small article which I was reading in the magazine Week. More important today, we should be more worried about our healthy, balanced, and enjoyable diet. I think that's very important.
Yes, sir. Can you see?
Okay. Now, most important point we have come is The tummy should be very happy. I don't know how is this possible. Yeah, that is possible only because if you can probably try to work out the one that does not disturb your gut, very important as well. And the sixth point is very important, and it should be very present, and we should plan something which is very good to our, especially the all the five sensory organs, as I said earlier also. The most important here is our mouth. Let to have a small anecdote here before we go to the next point. Normally, as a student, we always have the three types of psychological factors we call it. Number one is V, that is your vision, what you see. Number two is A, auditory. Combined between these two, one is the vision, another auditory, the movement we call it. So likewise, when you have a small type of pleasant fragrance, let us say. So before that, let us study how far it's going to be very medically and availability of particular, vitamins, minerals, etc., is going to be suitable to our both mouth as well as the gut. Next point. Next slide. We also have a lot of textbook method, including Ayurveda. Of course, we can try to take. Sometimes the decoction they say, sometimes the flavor type of milk, sometimes, of course, I think there is a lot of different types of tea available in the market today. They're called green tea, lime tea, and etc. But all this to be carefully taken according to our taste and aspect. Now, coming to the safety of the food, the most important for any person having a hypertension, cardiovascular problem, we always say from the point of doctors, don't eat this much, don't take salt, don't add sugar for the diabetes, fat for the increasing the cholesterol level, etc. But in case of COVID, probably in terms of this particular epidemic, please limit your salt intake, limit your sugar intake, limit your fat intake, consume the fiber, especially, and your potassium level and the sodium level should not go out. When you are having a dehydration, probably there's a supplementary called ORS. You always supplement through the available in the market in terms of powder, of course, sodium and potassium. So please avoid certain amount of alter your potassium or sodium level in the human system. Next slide. So make sure there is one particular, of course, I don't know particular here. Reduce your next slide. You'll have a lot of opportunity to mingle with them and stuff. This is the plate probably will nourish you. If you see the plate, you will have you jump into the particular both to your mouth as well as to your gut. Next slide. Can I have the next slide?
Yes, sir. Is it visible? Is it visible?
Can I have the next slide?
Yes, I am sharing, sir.
When you see the particular colorful plate, as
Yes,
I
ma'am,
remember,
it's visible.
probably should also have a lot of vegetable, fruits, which this point is very important, very safety. And here is certain number of. Now, mask effect. What type of mask? Again, there is a lot of challenges in the market. Probably recommendation according to N5, which can really protect with a double or a triple layer. Most important is the screening. I don't know how this patient screening comes. Probably we are in a group or a crowded place or a small exposure. I think one should go for a screening. The most important here is screening. We now concentrating on our enhanced. And last but one is your adjusted type of scheduling. I don't know what is this. How do you adjust? Probably we are work from home. You're not able to go to the schools and colleges, probably the work, even to the corporate or whatever you call it. So maybe that is the time where you have got to exercise and see that you put a timetable, very much schedule, which can both relax and occupy. The last is very important, is social distancing. There's a challenge here whether distance is a 2 meters, whether distance is 1 arm, but it has to be maintained. As close as you come, as seen in a crowded place, whether it's a marketplace, whether it's a bus stand, or whether it's a railway station, epidemic, and probably it is being spread. Why? The most important here is when somebody carrying something, let us say, cough, sneeze, cold. These are the things probably not able to maintain the distance. And very absolutely important. Here the safety is, caution is, maintain the distances between. I like to so again, let me repeat again because the slide is not able to open it. So most important, yeah, now it has come. Now to think there are 5 steps in the cleaning the hands. Don't allow any of these to slacken yourself. Just put your probably the nails, the center part of the palm, your fingers, and don't touch. And so it's a very important problem. Also use the soap water, and more than anything, the running water is very, very important. Next slide. Can we go next slide?
Changed, sir. Hello?
Yeah. Now, important is that is like a board room. The light is on, off. Enlarge this particular slide, madam.
Sorry, sir?
Can you enlarge this? Magnify.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 second.
Can you enlarge this?
Is it okay now?
Yeah. Can you read and help the audience on behalf of me because there is no current here? Can you read?
Yes, sir. It's a slide from World Health Organization, home care for
Absolutely.
people with suspected or confirmed COVID-19.
Correct.
Take care of
Go ahead.
yourself and your family.
Mhm.
And this is for caregivers.
Yeah.
First of all, ensure the ill person rest, drink plenty of fluids, and eat nutritious food.
Correct.
Secondly, frequently clean hands with soap and water or alcohol based rub, especially after any type of contact with the ill person or their surroundings, before, during, and after preparing food, before eating, after using the toilet.
Good.
The third point,
Yeah, yeah. Very important.
identify frequently touched surfaces by the ill person and clean and disinfect them daily.
Yeah.
Then the fourth point is wear a medical mask when in the same room with an ill person. Do not touch the mask or face
Yeah.
during use and discard it afterwards. Fifth point, use
Yeah.
dedicated
Just 1 minute, madam. 1 minute. Please hold it.
Yes, sir.
One
Hello, sir.
minute. Please, I would like to explain here. See, please distribute.
So your voice is breaking, sir.
You as a caregiver and as an affected. Can you?
Hello, Nilufar ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, sir is asking you to read the PPT.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, voice is breaking. Okay. Okay. The fifth point: use dedicated dishes, cups, eating utensils, towels, and bed linens for the ill person. Wash dishes, cups, eating utensils, towels, or bed linens used by the ill person with soap and water. And the last point is call your healthcare facility immediately if the ill person worsen or experience difficulty breathing. That's it, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you again go to the slide and explain? Can you do it again?
Yes, sir. All the 6 points.
Yeah, no, only last point. That is sixth point.
Call your
Please
healthcare
repeat.
facility immediately if the ill person worsens or experiences difficulty breathing.
Yeah. Okay. Next slide. Yeah, this is very important as long as we are concerned about the social distancing in the COVID-19. Most important here is when you are confirmed about the pandemic, the most important here is self-quarantine, we call it. The quarantine could be, depends upon the, I don't know how principally we can work it out, depends upon the person to person. The minimum most important here is the 14 days. There is a self-quarantine, we call it. Maybe we'll have to be very strict and stay at home. Probably we'll have to have our own type of the hygienic, the health aspect, and the treatment aspect. All the three comes under the self-quarantine. There are, of course, area-wise allocation also been done in the society, where there were BBMP people will come and help you with a doctor, or could be a staff nurse, or could be a social worker. Will try to give you as much information how you can really continue that particular quarantine. But in case if you are affected with, let us say, with a severity of your respiratory system, cardiovascular system, probably immediately you got to rush to the hospital, see you have been taken thoroughly the protective system. For example, it could be oxygen or it could be sometimes, I don't know, in a severe case, we also gone into the ventilator. So this depends upon the intensity of your pandemic. So one is of course social distance maintaining. Most important is how exactly you can come back normal, your respiration level. The most important, all of us, we are talking about SPO, the saturation of oxygen point. So these things gives you the guideline how you should be very careful and your quarantine period. Next slide. Yeah. So this particular is a very important scenario. We'll have to be very careful in this particular slide. I'm going to teach you something regarding the virus and how really it's going to spread. See, probably the virus, as all of us knowing the information, it will enter, the entrance is only from the nostril. No other, probably it has not reached. But when it comes to the nostril, when it gets into the lungs, once the lungs are affected, probably it is affected even the heart. When heart is affected, there is a lot of other organ which is associated with that. Sometimes even along with the probably the lungs or heart, the most important, it can damage your liver and the kidney. So these are the affected parts of the system, the human, where you should be very careful. And all these associated symptoms, for example, in case of acute respiratory distress syndrome, we call it, where you will come to know the intensity of that cough, intensity of that particular area where you are suffering. I mean, suffering is the very high level. So why all this is happening is, you know very well this virus, the interesting, it runs under the mutation, rotation, and you start working on that. So probably one should be very careful how to really reduce the type of virus or the whatever the possibility of mutation and rotation, you should be very careful in handling it. Next slide, please. Okay, most important here is, of course, we have some guidelines regarding the alternative medicine, we call it. Nothing but Ayurvedic system, we call it. Maybe all this is coming under the supportive system, we call it. In this sense, you can probably, along with whatever the treatment that you are going through, the therapy that you are going through, you can also have some amount of supporting, like, for example, warm water, gargling, salt and water mixed with the gargling, honey mixed with lime, gargling. That means these are the external aspect. Probably when you know that you have been affected with a sore throat or a cough, along with, of course, whatever the treatment that you are going to, from a doctor wise, the one alternative perhaps you can use it is your type of Ayurvedic alternative medicine, we call it. Next slide.